Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk to you about how to improve as a photographer. I get this question a lot where I think people are unsure about how to take the next step from being an amateur, taking photos of trees and leaves and stuff, into taking photos of a bit more than your friends, maybe models and so on. So first I want to start with is believe in your work. I think as photographers we tend to hate on ourselves a lot and hate on our work and being very critical of our own work. While it's good that you're critical and that it's good that you see flaws in your work, I think it's important to see the positives as well, because there was so many times that I felt like quitting because I wasn't happy with my photos, I wasn't happy with this, I wasn't happy with that. And I think it's not about reaching perfection. You're never going to reach perfection. You're always going to see something that's wrong with your photos. Like, it doesn't matter how many years you will be doing it, you will see flaws in your work. But I think it's more about understanding that it's okay not to be perfect and it's okay to learn. And I think as long as you see improvement from one shoot to the next, I think that's what matters. And I think if you see the improvement and you think you're getting better, then you're good. You're fine. Since we're talking about believing in ourselves, I think another thing is stop comparing yourself to other photographers. Again, this is something that I think everybody struggles with. I think there's so many times that you see somebody's work and you're like, oh, this is really nice. I wish I would have done that. I wish I came up with the idea. I wish this was my client. I wish this was the... Don't compare yourself to other people. You are as good as your next shoot. Just try to be as good as you can and just move past it. As I said, if you think you can't, it's better to unfollow somebody and just kind of get them out of your mind, because it does keep your relationship to photography much more healthy, rather than being stuck in this limbo of being like, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this work. Everybody's so much more successful. No, it's bullshit. Everybody goes through the same thing and everybody goes through the same kind of stuff when it comes to their photography. But I just think you have to acknowledge that you're not bulletproof and that you can improve your work, but don't kill yourself over it, because it's not worth it. It's not, because you're going to end up dropping your camera and being like, I don't want to do it anymore, I'm over it. So just keep that in mind. So best thing you can do for yourself is practice. Practice. Do as many shoots as you want. Shoot with your friends, shoot with local models if you can get some, go to Model Mayhem. Just practice. Believe me, the amount of people I've seen doing, taking photos once every 4 months, and then they're like, oh, I can't get better, I can't do this, or they don't use Photoshop at all, and then they're like, oh, you're so good. And I'm like, I've done it. I've done it days and days and days and days. So I think that's another thing, just trying to acknowledge that it just doesn't come to you. Maybe it does come to some people. It didn't come to me. I had to really, really work hard. I started photography in 2008. It was just photos of trees and, and maybe friends. And then 2012 was when I took my first kind of commercial shots. But before that, I had literally hours and hours and hours of Photoshop and shooting girls and testing with girls and so on. So it doesn't just come to you. You have to work for it. And when I say it, believe me, it's true. And you are going to get frustrated and you are going to get tired of Photoshop and you are going to get tired of not being good, but it's okay. It takes time. So just stick to it. If you stick to it, you will be okay. Find a team of people you want to work with. I find that a big step in taking my photography to the next level was starting to work with the makeup artist I work with until today and the stylist that I work with until today. So if you get a team of people that you trust and you all trust each other, then you can really, really make some amazing things. And a lot of the times the stuff is not going to be paid, it's going to be test projects or stuff that you can try and publish in magazines, but it will get you somewhere sooner or later. So I think if you can find somebody that you trust with your work and that they're going to push your work to the next level, then stick to them, because it's really, really valuable in this industry to have those kind of, the group of people that you can trust. Another thing is contacting the model agencies, and I find that it's a tricky subject because when you start out photography, no model agencies really want to work with you. And from my own experience, it took me a really, really long time for agencies to start replying to me, because when they're not really interested, they don't really reply. But I think the important thing is to know what to ask for. Ask for new faces, ask for girls for tests. When you do those tests, keep it natural. I will do a separate video about it, but I will tell you that now. Keep it natural, no crazy hair, no crazy makeup. No agency wants to see it in their test. It's just not a good look for them. They need test images of girls who are natural, who look like they just woke up, I woke up like this kind of thing. So that's the kind of stuff that they want to see. They don't really want to see big hair, big makeup, crazy styling, big goth thing. And I know when you start up, it's easy to get stuck into this idea of like, oh, I want to create this really, really big production, and I want to, everything to look crazy, and I want this like big hair, big makeup. And I totally get it. I did it myself. But if I knew what I'm telling you, it would have been much easier for me. You don't want to start up with this huge productions. Like, start simple, take simple photos, take photos of the girls in their like t-shirts and jeans and like, natural hair, natural makeup, and every agency is going to be happy about it, because that's the kind of images they want to see, and that's the kind of images they want for their girls in their books. I think it's very important to know that you're good, but to stay humble at the same time. There's nothing worse than being overly confident, because people notice, and like, if you treat people in a certain way, or if you treat people like you're too good for them, they will know that, and they won't work with you, because I've seen it happen so many times. And even in my experience, if somebody treated me really badly, I just won't want to work with them, because why would I? So remember to stay humble. Another thing that's really important is to assist other photographers. This is something I wish somebody told me, because I never actually assisted anybody. I started out all by myself, taking photos of girls outdoors and stuff, and I just wish there was somebody there to tell me to contact other big photographers, or contact big photographers and go and assist them and see how they work, and help them with stuff, and let them explain you things. Because when you start photography, everything is so new and so different, and and you don't know what to do, and you're kind of just like running around like a headless chicken. This is pretty much my experience. But I think if you get an opportunity to go and assist somebody and see how they work and see what they do, it helps you so much with your own work. Not to mention that you meet people on those shoots. Maybe there is a makeup artist that has her makeup assistant there, and the makeup assistant might want to work with you. It's those kind of things that open you up for contacts. Not to mention, some assisting jobs do pay. So if you decide that you love assisting and you want to do it full time, there's something for you. You can get a good bit of extra budget for yourself. I think another thing when it comes to budget is, don't be bummed if your photography doesn't bring a lot of money straight in when you start. It takes time, it takes effort, it's a good bit of work before it starts paying off. And even when it does, you have to know that the likes of editorials don't really pay. Like, editorials are something that you do for fun. You don't do it because you want to get loads of money. If you want to get loads of money, shoot campaigns, shoot commercial work, this kind of stuff. Because in general, as a consensus, editorial doesn't pay. You can create great photos, yes, but you won't get paid for it. Or you will get paid very little. So that's another thing. Another thing that I found throughout the years is, when you take that step, when you get good models and a good team, and you can organize your own shoots, then it's worth spending money on those shoots. Recently I did a shoot with using parrots. There were 2 live parrots that we got from a guy who does this kind of stuff. He has animals for film gigs and stuff like that. So but it costs money. It all costs money, and renting out the space costs money. The studio, I have to pay for every time. You know, getting the pirates cost us a good bit. So we did spend a good bit of money on that shoot. But if you think that the shoot is going to be great, then it's worth every penny. I'm not saying you should be spending loads of money on every single test you organize, because it's just, I mean, if you have loads of money, great, but if you don't, like most of us, then you have to be very careful with your budget. But I think if you feel that a test or a shoot is going to be a really, really strong idea, then spend that money. I will tell you that because it can really, really elevate the shoot. If you decide you're like, you know, okay, I'm going to spend, I don't know, 400 or 500 euro, I'll put it towards the shoot, let's do it. And like, you know, you might not get it back, because you might not get it published, but if the images are something special, then it was really, really worth it, because it is going to put your portfolio out there, and it's going to show people that, you know, you are out there. Going back to doing your own tests, I think it's really, really important to keep at it. I find that, you know, even when I started and I was doing a mix of commercial work and my own work, I would find that people were like, oh, I see you everywhere, I see you in every magazine, because I would do those tests and I would submit them to the magazine. You can get them placed in the magazine, you are getting paid for your work, so it's a win-win situation. But I think it's important, especially in fashion industry, to stay in people's minds all the time. You have to keep fresh in their minds. They have to see your work constantly, because otherwise they're going to forget about you. Unfortunately, it's the sad truth. But if you disappear for 4 or 5 months or whatever, they're not going to care about you unless you're amazing. But mostly it's the honest truth. People don't care. You're gone, out of sight, out of mind kind of thing. So keep that in mind. Keep taking images, but post strong images. Remember, you're only as strong as your last shoot. Okay, and finally, I think one thing that I find that elevates you from being an amateur to being a professional is the research you put into your work. Let's say if you do a shoot, start doing mood boards, start planning the shots out. I think when I started, at least, I tend to take a lot of photos. It was like maybe 1,500 photos per shoot. It was a lot of images. Now I have a strong mood board. I know what I want. I know what I want for hair. I know what I want for makeup. I scout my models well. And then I have all my shots planned. So when it comes to shooting, I know the exact look that I want to get. Even if you don't have the exact pose that you want the model to be in, but like, you know, on the day, if you're in the location, go and scout the location, have a look at it, you know, figure out what you want, and then plan it in your head before you actually shoot. Don't just randomly go from place to place and be like, you know, oh, what am I doing kind of thing.